we thought it was cool because like everyone else is just wearing PCs, and like when you see that everyone like oh who are they, like like oh what are
Yeah.
they doing, like not a lot of people. I mean now they know, but they didn't know what SRAB was or like who those guys were.
All right, guys. Hey, welcome to another episode of Mediocre Dads. I'm your host, Queon, where being mediocre is a choice and you have to refuse to be mediocre. I got that totally messed up, actually. Welcome to another episode of Mediocre Dads. I'm your host, Queon. I go by Q, of course, where being mediocre is a choice and you have to refuse to be mediocre. I don't know why I messed that up, but I just did it. That's my intro and I messed it up. Welcome to another episode, guys. So on this episode, I got I call it a blast from the past for me, because we were in high school together. I think you were a year younger than I was, or
You're
2 year
younger, yeah,
year, yeah, because
2 year,
you graduated in 14, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So we played basketball together. And he could tell y'all I sat on the bench my senior year, because I freaking cussed out the coach.
Yeah.
Oh, but it's a blast for the past for me. But nah, y'all. Those who know us are been around for a while. You know who we are. This is my friend, old buddy Brandon Doss from all the way from Surprise, Arizona. But the crazy thing is
Yeah.
how life happens. Where people kind of they start somewhere and then you never imagine them to end up there. And you joined the Army. How old were you when you joined?
I joined when I was 21.
21.
Or no,
Okay.
my bad, 20. Yeah, it was
20?
20.
Okay, 20.
20.
That's a little late for most people. Most people
Yeah.
are out there right at the gate out of high school. But you went
Yeah.
to college, right?
Yeah, I did 2 years. Yeah.
Okay. And playing basketball. We're gonna get into it. But anyway, y'all. So like I think it's gonna be a great conversation. He's doing amazing things within the military. And we were kind of talking beforehand how he's gonna do 20 years. But we're gonna get into all of that stuff. But before we do, hey Dawson, can you kind of introduce yourself to the audience and tell them a little bit about yourself?
So I'm Brandon Doss. And as we know, I'm from Surprise, Arizona. Went to Shadow Ridge
Ooh.
High School with you. Um, Played basketball. Went to college. Joined the Army. Have a daughter. I'm into cars, like basketball. Is pretty much it.
Dang, man. So what led you to join the Army? Because I know when I left, so when I graduated, there were very few of us, and I say few of us who were just meaning referring to the team,
Yeah.
who were just kind of like, who kind of knew what they were going to do. So like, I know you, Montez, Harold, was it Harold? Was
Yeah.
that the dude, light
Arrow
skinned dude?
girl.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
Harold. I know most y'all kind of had to kind of set it in front of you that you were going to go. You could make it on a college basketball team. Gibbs could make it on a college. I think Gibbs did make it on a college team, or he ended up playing overseas for a little bit.
Yeah.
So there were a few people who were going to leave high school and go play college and kind of make it, take their shot that way. So, what happened for you right after high school that led you to joining the Army?
So I did my 2 years, and once you do 2 years or any college, like athletic program, it's a lot of politics. And yeah, I wasn't with that. So I was eating ramen in college and living
Then,
paycheck to paycheck and doing work study, and it just was not it. So I dropped out of college and joined the Army.
hey, so like,
Yeah.
did someone say, "Hey, man, you should join the Army," or you were just kind of like, this Army thing kind of looks like it's next best thing?
Well, I had honestly, I come from a military family, like a few of my family members, but I knew that you get a paycheck every first and the 15th, and they house you. You get three hots in a cot, like you get free medical. So I was like, I'm not doing nothing where I'm at now, so I might as well join. And then when I joined, I just chose to be a mechanic because I always had like a niche for like cars and engine, go-kart, stuff like that.
Yeah, okay. And so you joined as a mechanic. You're a mechanic, I imagine, now?
Yeah.
Okay. And you love what you do?
Yeah, the last unit I love what I do. I just got to my new unit, still doing some adjustment, but my last unit was the best assignment you could ever ask for.
That's when you were in the SVAB.
Yeah, yep, that's the best assignment.
No, I look. I don't get me wrong. I think the SVAB is great for certain MOSs, but there are other MOSs that if they like for example, for me, if I were to do that,
Yeah.
yo, they would have me doing some straight analyst BS, and I'm like, I'm not for that. But y'all do go to
I'm
some cool
quick.
places.
Are you 88 Mike or are you Intel?
No, I'm Intel. I'm Intel.
Okay, okay, you're 35.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean Intel pretty cool. I worked with an Intel analyst, and
yeah.
she was an interrogator, but she did like
Oh, she's a
what is it?
35 Mike. Yep.
Yeah, she did what is it? Something PB, IPB.
Yes.
Um,
Intelligence preparation on the
yeah,
battlefield. Yep.
she did like S2 briefs and getting analysis before we got to in country and what personnel security. It was. I
Country
mean, she
briefs,
liked
threat
it.
briefs. Yeah,
Yeah,
so like, yeah, let's look, man. So that is, we're basically, so she's a 35 Mike. I'm a 35 Lima. We are more or less, we go hand in hand,
yeah,
as far as MI goes. But like, my issue is if I were to go to an assignment like that, I'd be a glorified analyst where I'd be expected to do a lot of the intelligence stuff as a whole,
uh,
rather than
yeah,
being able to solely focus on what my niche is or what my actual job is. So it's
yeah,
not really optimal for Limas to go there, but don't get me wrong, it doesn't mean that it's a rewarding experience or a rewarding opportunity nonetheless. Because I mean, I was paying attention to your Facebook or your Instagram, man, and you were traveling a lot, man. I think you were in Latvia,
yeah,
Romania. You went to all over Europe essentially. So just
yeah,
hooping, working, just having a great
yeah.
time, wearing that damn poop freaking stained
Yeah,
beret.
beret.
Freaking hate
Yeah,
berets.
yeah.
Did you like just be honest with me, did you like wearing the beret every day?
Yeah, it sets you. I mean, we thought it was cool because like everyone else is just wearing PCs, and like when you see that everyone like oh who are they like like oh what are
Yeah,
they doing like not a lot of people. I mean now they know, but they didn't know what SRAB was or like who those guys were. You know,
yeah. So where were you stationed at when you were with SHUB?
I was at Fort Carson, Colorado.
Carson. Okay, that's
Yeah.
cold. But that's
No,
cold
it's
out there?
not. It's not. It's. I mean, you get cold for like 2 months, and
Oh
then it's
my
the best
gosh.
weather. It's 80, 90 degrees max,
Really?
but it does get hail there though. That's the only downfall. But when I was there for 3 years, it didn't hail. So
Oh no? Okay. I was gonna say, did you ruin your car? Dang.
nah,
Man,
nah.
I see you got some nice cars, man. I'm not gonna, and you
Yeah,
got what? You got three cars? Two cars? Three.
I got
You got the
three.
char
I got
the
the Charger, and then I got two boosted Civics, and then I have just like a little daily BS car. So four,
mm,
but
man.
yeah,
Okay. Hey, so you know what? I was thinking about this before you came on though. Kind of going back. I remember seeing you in Fort Hood, and I was in the DFAC, and I was in BLC. Yeah, I was BLC, and that's the only time you'll ever catch me in the defect is because I was at BLC,
yeah.
ALC, whatever the case might be. And I remember seeing you, thinking to myself, like, no, this is not real. There's no way that Brandon Doss, the guy that I knew who was,
Yeah,
is good at basketball, would be here as private Doss sitting in this defect. And I was like,
yeah.
I'm crazy, I'm tripping. And then I remember we talked, and I was like, what, how did you what, how did you get here?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
If
that
I'm not
that
mistaken, you were at 3CR?
I was at 3CR. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember you being there, but I was a freaking private and I don't know what the hell I was doing back in those days. But I did eat at the DFAC. I still eat at the DFAC, to be honest. Well, not here, but like when I was at Carson and Latvia and at JBLM, I ate the DFAC, man. So DFAC's great.
Whoa, that's crazy. I mean, look,
Yeah.
going from eating ramen to eating at the
Yeah.
DFAC, I'm not gonna lie, that is an
Yeah.
upgrade.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
so I do, it sounds, it definitely is an upgrade. So So you're in Japan now, and what's that like? What's that transition like, especially going from stateside? And you've been overseas to Europe before, but what is it going from stateside to now being in Japan? I imagine where it's completely different.
So I am in Japan. I'm in Okinawa, Japan, not mainland. So just for
Oh,
everyone
okay.
watching, Okinawa is different from main. I haven't been to mainland, but I just can tell and see by what everyone's saying. But Okinawa is like it's a lot of rust on cars here. It rains every day. It is very humid. Um, what else? The money's different. It's very cheaper. The food's cleaner. The unit's different than like a regular conventional army unit. Um, I'm in the barracks as a staff sergeant, which is crazy. Um, yeah, the cars are smaller. Um, it's very congested here, as in traffic wise, but you have a beach right here. You got different bars. The club scene is not really a big thing here. I went out once, not really a big thing. And they call themselves Okinawans. They have a different dialect than mainland, and their morals are a little bit different. They have a different religion than they. It's not a lot of Christianity here. It's more Buddhism,
Mhm.
and they tend to follow more rules. Like they don't run red lights, and I know in America we do that all the time. Like yeah, and another thing is they don't rush for like traffic. Like Americans, they're trying to rush and get by. I'm late for this. They leave an hour before. So things are just, yeah,
What?
yeah, it's not a lot of car crashes here. DUIs are very, very limited. Like there's no DUIs here. Basically their limit is point 0.3. So that's like 4 sips of like a Jack and Coke and you get a DUI. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's way different than like Europe and America.
Man. But so far since you've been there? Has it been a fun experience, like an experience you're like, man, I think this is gonna be a good. I don't know how long you're gonna be there for.
Um, yeah,
Ooh,
yeah.
ooh,
Yeah, no, 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 no,
some
no, no.
hesitation. It's just,
It's just. Right now, I don't. Obviously, I'm a car guy, and I have multiple cars, so it's weird not having like a race car or a nice car. It's weird. Like I'm trying to get in the groove of things, get a routine, get a schedule. Get into my new unit, trying to do that, managing NTOs. Like I'm just trying to get back in the groove of things coming from the SFAB because coming back to regular army it's a little challenging. It's a little
yeah,
challenging.
yeah. What's the biggest challenge then?
So the biggest challenge is right now is I'd say managing like I have soldiers now. Back in the
Hmm.
SFAB, I was like as a staff sergeant, I was a private. Like I reported to a sergeant first class, and now I got four soldiers, 3 NTOs reporting to me, and I have to make everything happen. I'm like the face of the maintenance team that I'm in, and I have to report up, and I have to make sure this person's doing this. And I'm like a platoon sergeant and squad leader at the same time.
Yeah,
So that is a pretty big challenge for me right now. But I mean, I feel like I'll adjust to it. It's going to take some time. I've only been here
yeah.
for 2 weeks, so
Oh, okay. It's only been. I thought it was for a month, but that's my fault. My fault. 2 weeks. Okay,
good.
man. So I'm not gonna lie to you. Japan is uh, my dream duty station. That is the duty station that I want to go to. And I could have gone to Japan over where I'm at Fort Sam right now. But I was like, listen, my wife's pregnant. We're about to have a baby. I don't want to do this whole traveling thing, having a baby,
Yeah,
and then trying to get overseas and trying to figure all that medical stuff. So I was like, all right, it's probably best if we just go to San Antonio and then try to do that try to do the overseas assignment on the next one. So that's, and I was telling you before, doing the warrant thing. I think that's what kind of what my plan is just
yeah,
trying to get overseas because I mean I've been stateside my entire career, but I've been overseas. Like I've been to Poland, I've been to Germany, I've been to Kuwait, I've been to Afghanistan. So I've been all these different places.
yeah,
It's just I've always been stationed stateside. I'm just trying to get back to overseas or trying to get overseas and get to bring the family with me, have them get that experience because it's a different experience, man. Like where you can just to be immersed in that culture, and you've been over to Europe before as well, so like just to be immersed in that type of culture where and you can bring your family and just kind of like it's just you're like this is it's different and it's a little bit it's better in a way, but
Yeah,
it also feels a lot better when you come back to the States and you're like, all right, this is the flow, this is my comfort, this is what I'm used
yeah,
to.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I
So
think it makes you more diverse, and like you can see different walks of life, different languages, different cuisines, different cultures, different morals. Because I've been to 14 countries in Europe, and it's just everyone's different.
mm.
Every country is different, and it's the same with the States to an extent.
But like, all right, so like I'll give you a perfect example, right? So overseas in Europe, I imagine you went out, got a little, had a little fun in the club scene, right? I don't
Yeah,
imagine too deep to it, but there's a club scene. It's fun out in Europe, but then you
very
come back to the
fun.
States and everybody's like, "Hey, let's go to the club," and you're like, it's not really the
No,
same. It's not the
I
same at
don't.
all.
I don't party in the United States at all.
No,
It is
it
not. I mean, the only place I would party and that I would go back to would be 6th Street, Austin, Texas. That's it.
okay. All right, what are you
It's
talking about right now? What are you
the only
talking about?
place.
What? Okay, hold on. What are you talking about? Listen, Sixth Street? Oh, it's so overrated. Sixth Street is so overrated. Don't get me wrong. If you've never been to Austin and you've never been to Sixth Street, go. I highly encourage you. It is a heck of a time
Yeah.
on a night like tonight I guess it's Saturday for you, but Friday night right now like it is for me, it's a heck of a time. Saturday night, a heck of a time. But
Yeah.
me personally, that's a one time thing. And after that, I was like, I'm good, man. I'm good. But
Really?
they got some. I mean, so I've never been the little club person, the going person to go out and do
Yeah.
all those things, man. I've never been that type of guy. I mean, so you know Aubrey. Like I've
Yeah.
been with her since 2011. So like we never did the club scene. We got married right after she graduated, or shortly after she graduated, and we kind of just did lived our life doing the military thing or in doing the military thing. So like I never really experienced or had the time for the whole club scene because we didn't really want to put ourselves out there like that. And Fort Hood, yeah, you were there, like a lot of divorces of people
Oh,
just sleeping
yeah.
with other people's spouses, and just it's just he's just like, nah, man, I ain't trying to get into that, right? We'll just hang
Oh,
out with the
yeah.
house. So,
Yeah.
were you married? Did you get married?
I
Or
was married and I was part of that. I mean, I would say I was part of
ah,
that Fort Hood scandal or divorce, like, but yeah, I got a divorce when I was actually PCSing from Fort Hood. I put in my PCS leave, and it was around Thanksgiving, December, because I reported to JBLM in February. And yeah, we just initiated a divorce around when I was in PCS leave. So, and I got really divorced in JBLM. That was a rough one as well. I got to my new unit and I'm like meeting my first RN and I'm an E5, a brand new E5. And I'm like, should I tell him I'm going through a divorce or should I not? And, like, it was a sticky situation. It wasn't nothing like, no one did anything wrong, but I was like, should I like let them know or should I not let them know? Cause I have lawyers
mm,
involved because obviously you have a child, stuff like that. And I was just like, man, like, I don't know what I should do. But once I got divorced, oh, that was like a weight off my shoulders. Like, I remember the day I was in the gym, it was in McCord Air Force Base, and I was working out, and my lawyer called me and was like, hey, you're finally divorced. Here's your divorce decree. And I just like, I remember that day like it's yesterday. It's like, it fell off. Like the shoulders, like it just felt so good.
damn,
Yeah. Yeah.
damn, man. Did you get married to someone from back in Surprise?
No, or she lived in Peoria area.
Oh,
So
okay, okay, okay.
she went to Verrado High School, but she lived in
Yeah,
Peoria. And we just weren't meant to be. I kind of
yeah.
outgrew her. And that's what I was gonna say. Like, congratulations on keeping your relationship going and your marriage going because being in the military and having like being married is A lot of people don't know. It's pretty rough. Like,
It's pretty
you know,
rough.
you're going,
Well,
like, you're always gone.
yeah, not 100%. So like I was, I wasn't gonna, I don't want to rub it in for people and make it seem
Yeah.
like bad, but it's awesome for me. So actually tomorrow, the 14th of September, me and Aubrey have been married for 10 years. So like
Right.
thank you. So like that is like, so, and you just said it, right? And that's something that I don't think people that they don't understand or quite, they don't see, they might not see as a big deal, but being in the
Yeah.
military, the divorce rate, I don't know. I don't have the official number. I don't think I know I know there's an official number out there, but I could tell you just from experience and just being around the block a few times. I think the army divorce rate is or I'll just go the military. The military divorce rate is well into the
Crazy.
80s, well into 80 percentile of most couples are getting divorced at one point in time, whether it's beginning, middle, end of career. There's it's a high divorce rate, and so to make it to the point that me and Aubrey have made it to, while it is a milestone for us, it is a milestone for a lot of people because again, like I said, like there sometimes it's just over the littlest things. And I don't mean to downplay people who experience who go
Yeah.
through divorce, but like you've had soldiers before, right? So like and you've gotten divorced yourself, but like I don't want to get tied deep into yours, but like having soldiers who got divorced, right? They'll tell you they're like, hey, son, things just ain't working out. She just does this, he and these are things, and or he does this, and blase blase, and you're kind of listening. And you're just like, hey, man, like like have you guys tried counseling, maybe some therapy, kind of trying to work it out? And they're just like, nah, it's this is it. I'm done. I don't care. And you're just like, all right, man. Hey, man, you're grown. Do whatever you want, whatever comfortable for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just trying to help you. And it's over some like just like something that can be solved if they had a mediator.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
and that's not every relationship, but I just young soldiers relationships. That's what I noticed. Most of them is something that could be solved with a mediator, but their immediate response is, I'm getting a divorce. Like this just isn't working out. I'm getting a divorce. You know, and so, but teach his own. Everybody,
Yeah.
do what you're gonna do. Do what you're gonna do. So like you have a daughter, right? And how old's
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
daughter?
She's 6.
6. Oh man, she just turned 6 or
She's turning 6 tomorrow.
tomorrow?
Well,
Oh, dang.
it'll be Sunday your day, but
Okay, yeah.
tomorrow for me.
Man, well, happy birthday to your daughter. And what's that like, man? Like you've traveled a lot, right? So, seeing her and I don't imagine it's as often as you want it to be. So like what's that like for you? How do you cope and how do you manage not being able to see her every single day?
So that'll be what is it? I just kind of ran into that because, like I said, we were married in Fort Hood, and then JBLM, she still visited if he could, and then Colorado, she lived with me there while I was stationed there, and then probably only been away from her for about 2 years altogether. But like just when I was like deployed, right now, it definitely sucks because you can't like see them grow into like the person you want them to be or the person that they're going to be. Like for instance, is she dances, you can't see that, or you can't help her make little TikToks, or like stuff like that that you miss out on. And I actually missed out on her birth because I was in Poland. Stuff
Man,
like that, like, you can't actually hold her when she first came out. I saw her when she was 4 months, I think. It definitely sucks, but that's part of the military. Those are things that people, I guess, don't take in consideration before joining the military, and then they get a family. But most of the time, me and my friends, we call it private love. Like, when you're private, you fall in love with these girls. I went to basic training with 3 dudes, and we still talk to this day. The one's actually in my unit right now, and he has 3 kids, and he's like, man, like I love my kids, but I can't. He got a divorce. He's like, I have private love. Like fresh out of basic AIT, you're going wild, and you meet a girl, and like
yeah,
you just get her pregnant, and then you try to make it work. But that's what I say. Anyone that has a marriage still in the army, like, congratulations, because it's pretty hard, man. I'm not gonna
yeah,
lie, it's pretty hard. It's a lot of like factors that could like deteriorate your marriage, and you got to be like resilient, as Army says, and like
Yeah.
keep it going, you know?
So I totally understand that. So what if you had so you have hindsight right now, right? Or it's over. Everything you're obviously divorced, and so now you are where you are. But for yourself personally, you have some lesson learned, or
Yeah.
learned lessons from that from being divorced or and being married. So for those who are married currently, or those who are about to get married, or whatever the case might be, what advice would you give them, whether they're in the military or not? But what advice would you give those husbands or those dads that are like, hey, I'm about to get married, I want to get married? What would you advice would you give them?
I would say take your time. Don't don't rush the marriage, because
Mm,
you like, for instance, red flags could pop up, true colors could pop up. So kind of take your time and be like 1,000%, 100,000%, like just be for sure that it's the right one. But everyone that I've like noticed that has good marriages, they always say like it was natural, and they know like they knew that it was like she's the one. Most of the
yeah.
time, most guys that have divorces, from what I've seen, could be wrong or could be right, but they always say, I knew she was the right one. You never hear
Mm,
a divorce say, obviously, because it's a divorce, but oh, she was the right one, you know? So
yeah.
that yesterday I was actually talking to a soldier, and he said, yeah, man, he married a Japanese girl here. He's like, I just knew. Like, I didn't even say anything. Like, I just knew. And I was like, yeah, sounds about right.
Well, I mean, being in a relationship in overseas or in a different country is different, right? Especially within the Asian culture, in particular, it's different from being in America. Because you said earlier on, they have different morals, they have different beliefs, they have a different way in which they operate. Whereas Western culture, we promote promiscuity, and we don't promote the healthy sides of relationships a lot. And I say we, but I
Yeah.
just think being as a whole, we there's not a lot of promotion of those healthy relationships. And so it's this idea of just do what you want, damn the consequences, and figure it out later. When in reality, it's like, no, 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 slow down, think about our consequences, think about what we're doing before one, we jump into a relationship, or two, we get involved with somebody and say like, oh yeah, within 6 months I'm going to marry him. Because we've had soldiers like that. Soldiers like
Yeah.
that who were like 6 months into knowing this chick, and they're like, or chick or guy, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm getting married, it's true love. And you're like, I don't think it's true
Yeah.
love. I don't think that's true love at all. I need y'all to pump the brakes.
Yep.
And then it just crashes and burns because these soldiers go away for like 6 months, come back, and they got an empty house on base. They got
Yep.
nothing. Oh, that's like I went to when I went to Afghanistan. So when I went to what was it, 2016 to 17, um, and I don't know how many soldiers came back home, man, and they came back home to empty houses, like just straight up. Like, you live on base, like, like, understand, like, living on base and then coming back to a home empty house is just even more rolly, just jacked
Yeah.
up. You know what I mean? Um, and you come home to an empty house, and because that person wasn't there to pick you up or whatever the case might be, and then you come home and everything's gone, and you got a few things there, and you're just like, yo, what the heck? Like, what happened? Like, because you obviously, and sometimes they lost contact. It's just craziness to me, how these things happen. And this is not just to say women do it. Men do this jacked up stuff too, man. So like, it's a
Yep.
very, very, just a messed up thing that we got in the military, the mentality that we have and how people form these relationships, but kind of skirting relationships and all that nonsense. So being a dad, how has that been for you? What has that been experience? What's been the high, the lows of being a dad for you?
So I'd say, watching her grow, obviously, from the little girl she was to now, is like crazy. Like, obviously, I've my first child, so I wasn't really a child guy, you know. But definitely, I feel like being like seeing her grow makes me want to grow. Like, I can't just like per se just sit around and be stagnant in life. I was like, I want my daughter to know, oh, her dad does this or her dad does this. Like, I love when she said, oh, my dad's in the army, like
Mm-hmm.
I want her to like have a purpose because I have a
Yeah.
purpose. So, so I'd say it definitely made me grow as a person. It made me, obviously when she gets older and, has that mindset of, oh, boyfriends and stuff like that, or just life in general, I'm able to be there for her because the world is crazy in America, it's very
Mm-hmm.
crazy. So, um, she made me grow. I'd say that 100%. She made me grow. So I feel like it's my purpose to make her grow.
Yeah. And that's the beautiful part about being a dad. I think that um we don't think about until we are dads, especially when you have a daughter, right? When you have a daughter,
Uh,
um, and they're growing, they're doing their thing, and it's kind of like this moment happens where they're 5 or 6, and then you think back to when they were born or when they were like 1 years old and they could barely walk and barely talk and doing what they were doing. But now you got this 5-year-old who gives you lip sometimes or all the time, or
yeah,
has their own just their thought process and all these things, right? And you're just like, I remember when you were so small and you could fit in my arms and you used to rely on
yeah,
me to hold you. Now now you're just out here walking, talking, have your own attitude. You just like your own personality, and it happens within a
yeah,
blink of an eye, and you're just like, did I do everything right up until this point?
yeah,
Have I done everything right up to this point? Or where do I need to prove? What can I do to be better? And
yeah,
it can be a downward spiral of thinking, because you're just like, I hope and I pray that I've been doing everything that I'm supposed to and I was
yeah,
supposed to be, because you just want what's best for them. Little girls, man, they change your heart, and I didn't realize that. I didn't realize having a daughter changed me, until, I mean, I have 2 daughters now, but like it wasn't until it was actually earlier this year, and I got a female soldier, and she's 20 years old, and one of my good friends hit me up and said, "Hey man, you got a soldier coming your way, from the schoolhouse." He goes, she's really smart, good head on her shoulders, really really willing to learn. Hey, you really got a good one coming your way, so make sure you just help her out, because she's eager to learn. I told her to talk to you to get some more information, get some knowledge on how to be really good at the job. So I said, all right, man, absolutely, I got you. I'll take care. I mean, I'll make sure I take care of it. She shows up, man, and she's 20 years old, young girl, and I'm about to be 30, right? So I'm only 10 years older, potentially 10 years older than her. But man, it's the first time in my life that I've had this scene and experience, have this female soldier come talk to me, where I told her, I was like, hey, like, I was like, I'm not gonna lie to you, like, I see you almost as a daughter for me,
yeah,
not in a weird way, but just more or less as a daughter, because I'm just like, like, she'll say or do something, and it will remind me of certain mannerisms that my daughter does, and I'll just kind of like
yeah,
put my hand in my face and be like, what are you doing right now? And you can see she gets all flustered, and I'm just like, the same thing my daughter does. I'm like, what is going on, right? I need you to relax, calm down, let's figure out,
yeah,
let's work through this. But like, it's just amazing, because I say that because I'm like, okay, she's 20 years old, my daughter's almost will be 7 next year, but it's like time goes by like this, and so like next thing I know, my daughter's gonna be 20 years old, and I'm gonna be
yep,
like, holy crap, where did all this time go? You know what I mean? So like, can't take it for granted. Can't take the time we have with our kids for granted, because it does fly by, and it does make you it makes you contemplate a lot of things. So but it's a beautiful thing, beautiful thing. So
yeah.
are you gonna you know are you out there searching, getting in a relationship? Are you in a relationship now, or are you potentially going to get married again, have kids, or have more kids, or
So as now, I'm just living life, single. And that's pretty much it. I'm in Japan, so I mean, who knows? I might get a Japanese wife, or I don't know. I'm in Asia, so who knows?
Yeah,
Who knows?
yeah. Just for now, you just chilling. For now, you just
Yeah,
chilling.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm not saying my marriage scarred me or my divorce scarred me, but it probably did scar me. So I'm just gonna, I'll say, like you said, as you get older, you realize those things, those red flags, those boundaries. So like now I know since I'm older, rather than private love or private marriage.
Mm-hmm. Well, your priorities change, like, and that's the
Yeah,
one thing that I think when we, as men, as we get older, when we hit a certain age, I would say I think the age used to be when our brains fully developed at 25. I think it's technically still 25, but I actually think with because everybody's glued to one of these right here.
yeah,
I think it's a little bit older, like 26. I would say 27 even is when for a young man is when they have that aha moment or that light bulb moment of where they're just like, I've been focused on all the wrong things, and these are my priorities. This is what I want to do. This is my purpose in life. This is how I want to do it, and this is how I'm going to execute it. And once that happens, you start to realize, like, okay, like, don't get me wrong, like, if you're single, like, I want to go out, I want to, talk to some girls maybe and see where it takes me and get a relationship. But you also say, like, but that's not my priority right now. My priority is like trying to figure out where I need to be. Where's my 5-year plan, my 10-year plan? Where is I want to see myself?
there
How
you
am I going to
go.
succeed? Versus just kind of getting in that private mindset in which when we say this, y'all, I'm telling y'all, if you're in the military, you understand what we're saying. But if you're not in the military, this private mindset is the young individuals, whether they're young in life or young to the army, and they're single, the military, when you go through basic training and AIT, advanced individual training, it's a very locked down environment, right? And so the moment they get to their first units, this is their first real sense of freedom that they've had since joining the military, and they don't know how to act.
Yeah,
They have no idea how
yep,
to act. They just go all out, just doing the most, making these reckless and dumb decisions. Don't get me wrong, I was a private, so I understand some of the reckless decisions, but not all of the reckless decisions that they make. But they just go out and they make these reckless decisions because they're just like, freedom. No one can tell me what to do. I'm going to do whatever I want, especially when you go to Fort Hood. Let me tell you,
oh
thing,
yeah,
or Fort
yeah,
Cavazos, I'm sorry. When you go to Fort Hood, it's just terrible. Like, because they, there's these soldiers, man, and they're just like, oh yeah, I know the world. I know what it looks like. So I'm going to go buy me my first car. And these soldiers show back up to work on Monday, and you're just like, yo, you drive a fancier truck than me,
yep,
and I'm a staff sergeant in the Army. What are you doing in that truck? They're like, oh, I can
yeah,
afford it. I look at my paycheck. I'm like, no, 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 no. You can't afford that. I know you can't afford it. I know you
yep,
can't afford it. Unless you got some hidden money under the mattress or something, or you've been investing this entire time and you low key rich. I know you can't
yeah,
afford that car. I know you can't. They're like, nah, it's all good. It's all good. And next thing you know, they default on the loan and their car gets repossessed. And they say, I got to walk to work tomorrow. I was like, yeah, it's on you. That's
yep.
on you.
Piss poor decisions.
Yes, piss poor decisions. And you try to help them. But every time you try to help a young person, and everyone, all my older folks can attest to this, every time you try to help a young person, they either say, I'm a grown, you can't tell me what to do, or they'd be like, yeah, I got it. I'm gonna do what I feel is best,
Yeah,
because you're old and you don't know what it's like to be 25 or 21, as if you've never been 21 before, but you don't know what it's like to be 21 in 2024, right? You only know what it's like to be
yeah,
21 and back in the old days when times were
yeah,
different. So what do you really know?
yeah,
When in reality, not much has actually changed, and you're like, I'm trying to tell you, I'm trying to help you. You going down to, what's that club down at on Fort Hood Street, all the way down at the end, Fort Hood Street, next to the Shell gas station before you get to HEB, as if you're going to
talking about taboo.
Taboo. Yeah, it's on the left.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Look,
yeah,
you
taboo.
see, look, yo, I never went to that club, but I can tell you right now, every time Monday came around after a 3-day, or if there was Tuesday, it was a 4-day. There was always a soldier who had a story about like, hey man, at Taboo this weekend, this is what, and it's changed names like 15 different times.
Yeah.
The cops have raided that place like so many freaking times.
Yeah.
It's usually blacklisted and then it gets unblacklisted because the owners change.
Yeah.
And the owners change, meaning I think it's like a brother, or I think it's like a family that owns it, and they just kind of cycle through the
Yeah.
family of who
Names.
owns
Yeah.
it and the names, just so they can get on blacklisted, because they know it's a high foot traffic area for, especially for soldiers in the area. And you got a few other clubs there in that area that
Yeah.
soldiers
Yeah.
tend to go. And then it's funny. There are so many. I knew a soldier, man. His wife worked at one of those clubs, and if you guys are kind of getting what I'm putting down, it was not a club in which I don't recommend anybody go, but like, it's not a club anybody would want their daughters or their wives working at,
Yeah.
and this soldier, his wife worked there, and I was like, you're cool with that? He's like, oh yeah, she makes money, man. She does what she, like it is what it is. And I'm like, yo, okay, but like, hear me out, okay? Your platoon goes to the club on a Friday or whatever, Friday night, and your wife's working. Your wife has gone to org day events. She's been to work events. She pinned you when you pinned PFC or specialist, right? So how
Yeah.
is it that like you are just cool with your platoon? Your platoon one day goes to the club on the Friday, which I don't know why they're all going to the same club on Friday, but just say for example they are, and then there's your wife on the stage. The people that she's met before, fully clothed, said, "I'm such and such wife. Oh, it's nice to meet you," and she's out here on the stage dancing. Like, you're cool with that? It was, oh yeah, man. Like, oh, it's no big deal. I was like, oh no 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 no. Couldn't be me. Couldn't be me.
Yep. I agree with you.
I don't know how soldiers be doing that. I don't know how soldiers be doing that. But anyway, man. So what is kind of final wrapping things up here for just for time's sake here. What is ultimately, what is like Japan wise? What are your goals there and beyond?
So my number one goal right now is finish my bachelor's degree. I just finished my associates, like I said, when I was in SFAB.
Congratulations, man.
So once I appreciate it, once I finish that, just to get something out of the army, I tell my soldiers all the time and tell everyone in the army pays for you to go to college. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you have people that want to go to college and paying off student loans once they graduate college. Or for instance, I'll say when I went to college for basketball, I had to pay some loans off. I had some loans that I had to pay. And I'm just like, the army's paying for it, and you can use FAFSA on top of that. So that's like a double whammy.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'd say another one would be to learn the technical side of my job more in depth. Like, obviously, as we promote to Sergeant First Class, Warrant Officer, you got to know your job on more strategic level. So knowing that side of your job would be detrimental to me 100%. So the way, once I get out the army, I can think from like a logistical standpoint, civilian standpoint. Then another goal would be obviously to get 100% VA disability.
Mm-hmm.
Start going to sick call every 6 months. Because
Mm-hmm.
I see people get out and they've been struggling for 5 years to get 80%, or they've been struggling to get 10%. Like, I see different stories.
Yeah.
So I kind of made a little algorithm in my head. Every 6 months, go to sick call. Because by the time you think about it, I mean, we're at 8 to 10 years, so that's twice a year. So the file should add up, and it should be
Mm-hmm.
pretty thick by the time you get out. And definitely, to all my veterans and people that are in the military, use all your resources. Use all your resources. The Army and the military has so many resources, so much programs that we don't even know about. So 100%, I would recommend using that and just stay on top of it.
Yeah. No, that's for real. Like, the Army has so many things available to us that we don't take the time to say like, oh, I didn't know there was a program for this, or that this is something that was available to me. And it's like, yeah, man, take advantage of it. And, there's these programs, and some of them are hush hush for a reason, I think. But for the most part, there are a lot of programs out there that people don't take fully advantage of. And then they get out and they're like, oh, the Army had this program for it. And if I only knew that, if someone only told me that, I was like, man, you gotta be willing to kind of go out there and figure it out. So, but I feel you, man. I tell soldiers all the time that every day you're in the Army is preparing for the first day when you get out.
Yep.
That's 100%. Every day that you spend in the Army, you're preparing for the first day that when you get out of the military. And from soldiers, they kind of dawns on them like, oh, okay, I understand what that means. But they kind of get into the tune of what they're working on, what they're doing, and then they're like, oh, I get out in 6 months, I'm doing CSP, doing all this thing. And they're like, oh man, I wish I would have gone to school. Wish I got to kind of like got my bachelor's. I could have had my bachelor's degree by now. And it's like, yeah, man, you could have had a technical certificate. You could have been doing all these different things, but you told yourself you didn't have time. But you were
Yep.
spending all your time doing something really just doing dumb stuff, where you could have
Yep.
put that effort and that time and that energy towards something else beneficial
Yeah.
towards you and your future. So, I highly encourage my soldiers out there, take it seriously. Take your, really, really understand what's available to you and what that looks like and what your goals are, because so many of us, as we get closer to the end, we start saying, okay, what is it I want to do? And then it's too late by that time. It's very too late. So, my final question for you, man, what are you going to do when you retire? Because I know you said you're going to stay in for a while if you till retirement. So after retirement, what's the plan? Are you just trying to sit on the porch and just, drink a beer? What are you trying to do? What are you trying to do when you get done? When it's all sudden, well, I say that, man, because I see you playing basketball, and I know we're still fairly young, but I see you playing basketball, man. I was like, look, I gave up basketball after high school. All right, truthfully, after the senior year season,
Yeah.
after my senior year season, and I don't know if you remember this. I think our last game was Willow Canyon, and I remember changing, throwing my uniform in the bucket, and I walked out, and I never looked back, and that was it
Yeah.
for me. And I've played basketball here and there, but I've realized that like I'm like like I don't have a love for basketball like I once did, or whatever the case might be. So like,
Yeah.
what is it for you? Are you trying to you want to play basketball just until you be that old guy in the gym? Hey, we got five, we run in the court or whatever at Mountainside, or what are you trying to do, man?
So definitely, I say like career wise, try to transition to logistical,
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. Maybe Amazon, Google, nothing crazy.
Yeah.
But I'd say like hobby wise, I'd say I definitely want to try to coach basketball, obviously with my experience. And like you said, how you gave it up, I gave it up probably, to be honest, I'd say a year ago because I got really injured. I had two injuries and
Oh
I
damn.
was like, yeah. I mean, it wasn't like nothing crazy, but I had injuries. I was just like, I'm getting old. I mean, I feel it. Like I said, I feel it. I feel it. I feel it. I'm only 28, but I feel my body is like deteriorating slowly. Obviously, no one knows that when you're in the army, your age is not your real age. You have a
Mm-hmm.
different age. So my body is just like, it's getting there. So I got to strategically think. I can't play basketball forever. I can't run how I used to run. I can't jump, like things like that. You got to just let go. So
Yeah.
I would just say I'd be that guy at Mountainside recruiting kids to join my AAU team and stuff like
There you
that.
go.
Like I'm not going to be trying to dunk on people and trying to, no, that you gotta let those things go. Got to.
Can you still dunk right now?
Yeah, 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 yeah. But it ain't. Now. I tell people, when I'm wide open layup, it's just 2 points. It's still 2 points, right?
Yeah. He's just
It's
like, I'm
like,
just
look,
taking that layup.
yeah, it's still. I mean, maybe if the game is crazy and to change the momentum and the tempo, all right, cool. But if I'm just a wide open layup, I'm not jumping as high as I can to try to put this ball in the hoop. I'm just gonna lay it up and run back down the court to preserve my energy.
There you go. Look,
Like you gotta
But
think
you remember,
strategically, you know?
yeah, but you remember when you're young, everyone is like, hey, the moment I can dunk, I'm trying to dunk on everybody.
Yeah. But still it's 2 points. Still 2 points, you know?
Oh man, no, I feel that. No, I definitely feel that. Look, I never was able to actually fully dunk, meaning I never ever to like put the ball in the hoop dunk,
Shoot, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I was able to the best attempt I had at dunking, and this was at the park. Yeah, I think it was the surprise park too. But it was best attempt I had at dunking, man, is I got up there and I put the ball. I got my hand on the rim, but
Yeah.
then the ball bounced off the rim and flew
Flew
all the way
back.
over. Yeah, and I was just like, so I tried it again several times, but I lost the momentum. And then from that one,
Yeah.
that was the best attempt I ever had at dunking. After that, I was like,
Yeah.
I'm good, man. I'm 5'8". I'm barely
Yeah.
5'8". I don't know what I need. I'm not dunking on anybody anyway.
Yeah.
And I was a pretty, I mean, I'm a pretty solid dude. So I was like, I don't, maybe that's just not me. Maybe that's not me. I'm not Nate Robinson. I'm
But
not
yeah.
out here you know, trying to show off to everybody that I can, jump as high as they can. So yeah, and my knees hurt. I'm not gonna lie to you, my knees hurt. So look, y'all, the army. You said it. The army ages you, and you just don't realize it. So we're talking, and it's crazy because we're talking right now, and it feels like we're 30. I'm 35, 33 years
Yeah.
old, talking to each other. But the reality is, 28. You're 28. I'm 29, going on 30 here. So like but it just the army ages you differently. Where you're just like most 28-year-olds probably don't think about it, thinking like how we do, right? And you could probably
Yeah.
attest to this. The friends back in Surprise, Arizona, who are still young at heart, if you will,
Yeah.
they're doing their thing. Don't get me wrong. I'm pretty sure they're doing their thing, but hey, they're still young at heart, where they're trying to act. They're still trying to go out to Old Town Scottsdale and do their thing on every other Saturday. And you're like, I'm
Yeah.
just trying to chill in the house, man. Look, I got some Netflix. I got Hulu. I just be just fine. You know what I'm saying?
I
So,
hear you.
but all right, man. Look, that's all I got for you. I appreciate you coming on the podcast, man. Listen, y'all. His YouTube, his Instagram, and Facebook. I don't have a TikTok. Do you have a TikTok?
Yeah, I do. 392 vlogs with the
Okay.
S.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Look, all of that it's gonna be in the description below, y'all, so you can check him out. Listen, he's got some pretty cool stuff. I'm not gonna lie, his charger is pretty dope, and I'm not gonna lie, I've always wanted a charger, but like I have 2 kids going on 3 kids, so like I'm never gonna own a charger.
Practical. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not right to go on a charger at all. I
I
just
hear
never.
you. I hear you.
But like, here's the crazy part: I own a diesel truck, so
Yeah.
uh, that's not necessarily practical for three
Big
kids
money.
either. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
look,
Yeah.
I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right.
Yeah.
I'm very fortunate. I'm very blessed to be where I am and to have the things that I have. And my truck's paid off. Both me and my
That's
cars and
good.
wife's are paid off. So like, I don't. So for me, it's kind of like I love my truck, and diesel fluctuates in price, and it's not
Yeah.
definitely optimal to use it as a daily. But it's I love my truck, and I'm always going to use it. It's what I have, and so I drive that thing like I stole it sometimes, and it's freaking a
Yeah.
blast, So even though I'm not a big fan of Mopar, it does its
Yeah.
thing. It does its thing. It does
Yeah.
its thing. So, but anyway, y'all check out his channel, check out his Instagram. Like I said, his Dodge Charger is pretty freaking dope. The things you've done to that car, by the way, is
Yeah.
freaking ridiculous. And you telling me I
Appreciate
got
it.
money. No, you got money, because
No, no.
I see some of these you done
Yeah.
with that car, and I was like, yeah, look, dang, that's some money right there. So
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
and it's not it's not low like some simple Dodge Charger Hemi that you got.
Yeah.
You got the high end Dodge Charger. It's got what engine is it? I guess is it called
392.
392? It's
Yeah. Yeah.
392. Yeah,
392.
but
Yeah.
that's the
Yeah.
highest one of them all, right?
No. So the one above mine is a Hellcat, but most people get the
Oh, okay.
Hellcat and they can't do anything to it. So
Oh, you know what the Hellcat?
yeah. Nah. I mean, your payment's gonna be $1,500, and you can't do anything to it. So I'd rather just get a decent sized engine. I can do stuff to it still, you know?
Okay. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, my father-in-law, he has a Hellcat but in his truck and
Drive the
freaking
TRX.
the TRX, let me tell you, that thing that has
Crazy.
launch mode, bro. That thing is
Yeah.
ridiculous. Scared. Does your
Yeah.
car have launch mode?
Yeah.
Oh, and you probably ripping that thing. Gosh dang,
Yeah.
look,
Yeah.
I'm jealous. Look, like I'm a little jealous, but I did have my fun, y'all. I rode motorcycles for a little while, and so I kind
Yeah.
of that was my little fun, and I'll probably get back into those here pretty soon. But anyway, that's all I got before we go. Man, hey Doss, you got anything you want to say to the audience? Anything, piece of advice, any wisdom, anything that you want to put out there before we get off here?
Just stay true to yourself. Have a purpose. That's it. That's
That's it,
it.
y'all. I totally believe it. All men should have a purpose. That is my 100% belief. All men should have a purpose. I think if you have a purpose, it definitely your life starts to make sense. So
Yep.
anyway, guys, thank you for joining us. Hey, that's all I got for you today. Remember, guys, being mediocre is a choice. You have to refuse to be mediocre every single day. That's all I got. Mediocre Dads out.